KVGB and 95.5 FM.
Sports Day is brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Harrison Butker, the biggest kick of his Chiefs' life. Placement is down. Butker's kick is out. The spinning kick high, floating in the air, and it is good! Good! It's a field goal from 45 yards out with 3 seconds to go in regulation.
They did a good job. They had a good plan. They did a good job of creating one-on-one matchups up front to let their guys go and try to win. They did a good job of it.
Hey, I got some wise words for that Cincinnati mayor. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
Could have came out real sloppy and, lethargic type thing, and I thought we came out in a very aggressive sense, which is what we wanted to do.
We came out kind of slow. We were kind of sluggish, but to get the victory playing like shooting 1 for 14 and shooting really bad from the free throw line is a good feeling. Oh yeah, we fought for the rebounds, and I think that's what won us the game, was rebounding the ball.
All you guys have to step up. Today's Ring stepped up, Steph, Emmy's playing really good right now, and 5 guys have to rebound.
They got to stop, and then they got a quick score, and they're back within 5 as the clock ticks under 2 minutes.
That was absolutely necessary for Kentucky to get that stop and score.
Wilson, another one. How many big shots has Jalen Wilson hit tonight?
Best start in 50 years. Got to be able to guard him off the dribble. He is an absolute bull.
And now since I think about it, it's like the customers is my audience.
I flat out love that guy.
I think everybody does.
Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Welcome to the Monday show after an unbelievable weekend of sports. Steve Webster, Mike Corson, Aaron Clark, and
Mr. Angry.
Mike, I didn't want to say anything. I don't want you to come across here. Mike Hesher running the controls here at the Eagle Media Center at 12th and Baker. On the show today, Alan Clark will be in. We'll talk about the Barton women getting a 78-74 win over Hutchinson on Saturday. Jim Azunas, Great Bend Tribune, will be in. And what did you call it earlier? That thing.
That Panther Prowl thing, wasn't
yeah, okay.
Rawr.
Nathan Brockman will be in on the program today. Okay, and sounds of the past 24 hours or so, and all the headlines of the day. So let's get started. The call yesterday on 106.5 The Wolf. Harrison Butker kicking the game-winning 45-yard field goal. Chiefs win it 23-20 over the Cincinnati Bengals. You heard Joe Burrow got sacked 5 times, 270 yards passing, had a touchdown, and 2 big picks in that game, saying that was the best game plan the Chiefs had. Boy, Steve Spagnuolo, Chris Jones, my goodness. Travis Kelce on the podium. I had to look that up. I'm not in on all these because he said I wanted to make sure we could run this. A jabroni. Now, jabroni is a noun, slang, and it's a stupid, foolish, or contemptible person.
I can't.
Loser. She always has a comeback to own the trolls and jabronis on Twitter. Shut your mouth, you dumb jabroni.
See, I'm really relieved to know that I can say jabroni on the air now. Now that that's out in the world, I can not have to worry. What a jabroni mistake there. On
Travis
the third
Kelce
down.
talking about the mayor of Cincinnati.
You didn't know what Kelce was cooking? He got it from The Rock, man. It's old WWE or F, whichever one it is. It's The Rock.
Okay, well.
But it's funny.
Okay, boys. Thoughts on the game?
It was a doozy. Obviously, the officiating's getting a bunch of heat today. My favorite meme so far is Mahomes trading jerseys with the official. Great meme. But to me, the 2 big ones were the intentional grounding late. I called it before they did. And then he threw the pass after that. And I thought,
called it before you did, but okay.
I didn't love the intentional grounding there. I thought Samaje Perine was in the area at least as in the area as we've seen it called before.
What was it
but,
be like Superman and come driving back in there?
No, but
didn't
we've
go
seen
past
like
the
that,
line.
like Samaje Perine being where he was. We've seen that counted as in the area before when a quarterback throws it down there. I thought it was going to be intentional grounding, and then watching the replay.
If you well, go ahead.
And it didn't cross the line, but here's Joe Cool coming. He completes the next pass. I thought, uh-oh. But then defense showed up.
And I think it's really a testament to how hard it is to beat a good team twice in 1 year. Cincinnati, they already beat Chiefs once earlier this year. That takes away a lot of what they're going to be able to do in this game, because now Spagnuolo gets to come out and he has an idea of what worked for Cincinnati in the last game against them, and then what the Chiefs were able to do to counter that. And I think it was a great job of him being able to exploit some of the Bengals' offensive line woes. That unit had been looking a lot better. Obviously, anytime you get Frank Clark out on the edge or Chris Jones one-on-one inside with a guy like Cordell Volson, who's only in his second year, he's a great guard. He's a great young guard for the Bengals. You don't want a young guy like that one-on-one against Chris Jones. And it took him 14 playoff games, but Jones finally got his first career postseason sack. And so
Chris
got it at a
Jones
good
played
time.
the game of his life yesterday.
And
And again, I think he goes to Spagnuolo. Tony Romo said something during that game I thought was very good. So Spags have this. If you don't show stuff maybe that you want to run during a regular season game, I don't know. But, yeah, just like you said, making those one-on-one matchups, and the Chiefs' pass rush was – Joe Burrow, man, he is so good, but he's just like anybody else, man. You're under pressure. It makes a big, big difference. He wasn't able to just sit back there and pick the Chiefs apart.
The pressure
The
coming
defense
both
won this game.
Oh, for sure. And the pressure coming both from the Chiefs players getting after him, and then also we saw the environment. That Arrowhead was booming and causing all sorts of communication errors in there that we saw. And I think it was a tough environment for Cincinnati to come in and try to get a win.
It was going to take some grit. Got the high ankle sprain. Going to run the ball for the biggest play of the game. And I was just thinking just now, what if he'd been hit like that on the Chiefs sideline? Maybe had some negating penalties, but luckily it was over the far side of the field. Nobody reacted. I thought there was going to be some hard reaction there. Probably they knew the penalty was coming, and they just shot themselves in the foot.
If you want to argue about the officiating, that's a penalty every time. Every time.
No question. Patrick Mahomes had 2 feet out of bounds.
How do you pronounce that?
Joseph Osai.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like he knew after the game even. I don't know if you guys saw the clip.
It was awful. I felt bad for the kid.
Yeah, I felt terrible for him, and just you could tell he was dejected knowing he made a huge, and he had played such a good game up to that point. Really hate to say. I love there was a clip going around on Twitter now of B.J. Hill, defensive interior lineman for the Bengals, standing next to Osai while he's taking like his post-game interview. And I just like B.J. Hill and that, just like incredible teammate. Not only there to provide support for Osai, a young guy in a moment that he needs that support, but also like kind of being an agent almost for like screening questions and telling reporters like, hey, that's a jabroni question. Get it out of here. Let's get a different one up.
And credit to their coach after the game. He said, we're not putting this on one play. We made several plays. Well, he was only in that position because of 18 other things. So, yeah, it was a bonehead play. But
it comes down, it's the same thing with D Ford. I mean, Cole and me argued back and forth on this show. Well, there's so many things that happened. No, that he was offsides. So it's the game's on the line. You don't call that with the game on. He was offsides. He was offsides. The Chiefs intercepted the pass. The Patriots end up winning. The same thing, man. That's a penalty every time.
No, and I think the bigger call that caused controversy in this one was the 3rd and 9 that came back. I don't think anybody's ever seen that before. So I'd be curious what the Chiefs fans would have said if that play went for 50 yards and they called it back. Because I do think they would have. I think the clock was running when it shouldn't have been, and it's a big mistake.
It looked like they did get that referee running in from the top side. Like they showed a replay, he ran in and just no one stopped. Like he was running in, waving his hands up in the air, and just no one stopping.
40 yards downfield with no headset.
This game, I'm glad there's 2 weeks between, because this is kind of lining up like when they played the Bucs and their offensive line was decimated. Well, are they going to have any wide receivers to throw to? Mahomes is going to have to scramble against Philadelphia. It's not going to be like Cincinnati, which where's all the blitzing that they were supposed to be doing, They really kind of laid back, I thought, with Mahomes, go after him. But he's going to be able to need to run.
I think
Philadelphia.
the on-field mic for Mahomes was fun this game because we got to hear him rather calling out a lot of them. Like watch 24, watch 57. Jermaine Pratt with middle linebacker, another one for the Bengals that got called out a couple times. And he's just, I think Mahomes. I texted one of my buddies. We saw how like aware of pressure he is because it's easy to move away from pressure with your legs and run away and extend plays that way. We saw him being aware of pressure was coming and just using these quick swing passes almost behind him to the sideline where he'd probably usually scramble in that situation. Instead, he just knows a sack is about to come and gets it out. And I thought just incredible performance by Mahomes in several aspects.
Yeah, I know the people are. One thing I like about the Chiefs are becoming hated now. That's a good sign.
That's how you know it's a dynasty. That's how you know you're getting there.
They need to win another one, but
Yeah.
It'll be tough against Philadelphia, who's really playing some good football. And one more thing on this is because you see where the Chiefs are now, to be able to go through this window of making 3 Super Bowls, and they've already had to pay Mahomes. Okay, the Bengals haven't gone through that yet. Brett Veach has been able to keep them competitive, even though they gave Mahomes a big contract, finding ways to get under the salary cap, bringing players in that are going to fit. Now the Bengals are going to have to go through that because they're going to have to pay Burrow. Then that's when the general managership begins.
Not only is they're gonna have to pay Burrow, and then they've got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, both of who could, like, obviously I think Chase is a better receiver. T. Higgins is still gonna ask for a lot of money and deserve a lot of money.
You got to let him go sometimes,
And sometimes
like Tyreek Hill.
Talking about the job Brett Veach has done, though. How about the rookie performance yesterday? From Sky Moore with the punt return that set up that late field goal to Brian Cook tipping the ball up to Jalen Watson there to get the interception
14
there.
of the 22 defensive players that were suited up yesterday for Kansas City were rookies.
And it's just impressive job there by a couple of those kids.
And good drama on the broadcast. I think it was Romo who called out during the punt. Moore has, 3 muff punts this year? So you're like, uh-oh. And then he busts off the return.
Oh, I was very aware of that. He knows they had him back there. Yeah, Tony Romo, by the way, is the best analyst there is. Yeah, sorry.
Shout out Greg Olson. I've really been enjoying Greg Olson so far.
I love Greg Olson.
He was the color commentary on the NFC game and former Bears and Panthers tight end. Love his insight.
Didn't see a play of it.
Well,
I was.
I wouldn't say you missed out on quite a game, but that might be overselling what was.
Oh yeah, 31-7. Yeah, we have. Gosh,
I watched the whole thing. Don't worry.
I was productive during that time, so we won't have time to break that down. The starting offensive lineman. So give me the starting offensive line or starting defensive line for the Eagles.
For the Eagles, you got Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick. Well,
you're wrong.
It depends how you want to count Hassan Reddick as to whether he's a linebacker or a defensive end. Like, he's listed as a linebacker. He never moves off the line of scrimmage for him. Like, don't get me wrong, he's an outside linebacker, but he's playing as a defensive edge. But then some of the rotational guys, they got
we're talking about that other game now, so
yeah,
that's good. Okay,
you're good. We don't have to get into it.
Head coach cindy Beck, you were there. They come out. Nothing again. Free State must not be very good.
I'm not
taking anything away from the Lady
I don't want to take
Panthers,
anything away from the Lady Panthers either, but I've never seen 18 turnovers in the first quarter. Like,
it's 23-2.
I feel like the Lady Panthers have a struggling game when they have 16 turnovers in a game. Like, that's kind of rough for them. And they were able to force 18 against Lawrence Free State. And just, for what it was worth, like, Coach Beck talked about her girls wanted to come out, like, wanted to see them come out and want to win the game because she felt like Topeka West just wanted to win the game more than they did, and that's kind of what it boiled down to.
Well, free throws.
Yeah, that as well. No kidding. But Lady Panthers in that game against Lawrence Free State, they had some spicy feistiness to them. They were not coming out weak on that one.
Kenzie Premer ties a career high of 26. With 13. That is a new career high for her. And Sadie Spray with 26. So that equaled her career high.
And Spray probably could have had a lot more. She had, I think, 19 in the first half. But then I liked myself from Sadie there. She got on the court with a couple of less experienced players out there. Like, they had Cassie Elgood was on the floor with her. And I believe Nia Jones was in there at one point with her, too. And Spray was really in there trying to be like a field general, floor general, moving them around, directing, making sure everyone was in the right space. And I like to see that kind of leadership from Sadie out there when they were up experimenting with some offense.
Panthers win Friday at Dodge City, 57-53. Tyler Stulsatz leading the Panthers, 14 points. They were 1 for 14 from 3 in that game, shot 32%, but out-rebounded Dodge City. 43-26, 17 offensive rebounds. Braylon Council had 11 rebounds in the game, 7 offensive rebounds. The littlest guy in there. Some big rebounds down the stretch. Panthers get a big road victory, even though they didn't play great. So both the boys and girls are home Friday night to take on Liberal. And let's see what else we have. Hanasar helped pick up the slack. 11 points, 9 rebounds for the Barton men on Saturday night. They beat Hutch 97-89, coming from behind late to get that win. Barton women winning 78-74, 22 points for Morgan Myers in that game. We'll talk to Alan Clark about that. Big 12 over the weekend. Jalen Wilson bombed in a three-pointer. That put up KU up by 7 in the last 2 minutes. Bill Self does not experience a 4-game losing streak. KU beats Kentucky 77-68. Keontae Johnson, also on ESPN Saturday, got 2 of his 13. K-State 64-50 win over the Gators. Johnson adding 11 rebounds against his former teammates. Oh, yeah, we got another big game tomorrow night in Lawrence. K-State and the Kansas Jayhawks. Big 12 goes 7-3. Okay, we've got a bunch of stuff here to get to. I don't want Alan Clark to sit in the green room too long. He'll walk out. So then I won't have anybody to talk to in the next segment here. Okay, Panther Wrestling. Quick update there, Mikey.
Boys were out at Rocky Welton in Garden City Friday and Saturday. One of your biggest tournaments in the state, really. Had 5 states represented there. Cooper Lyles led the way, second place at 150. Jay Shards had I believe the 144 bracket had top ranked from 3-2-1A, the top 2 from 4A, and the top kid from 5A, so I think he got 5th. 12th overall, or 8th overall, so great competition. And then the Lady Panthers were up in Topeka at Washburn Rural. A little bit of an off day there. They got 12 out of 33 teams. And Daisy Gomez got second. Once again, she goes up against one of the girls ranked ahead of her and lost in the finals.
Okay, real quick here. Abilene TMP, Friday night.
Yeah, so Abilene hits a potential game-winning shot late in the game. Basically, the horn goes off. So as TMP's walking off, one of the Abilene kids kind of sprints off the bench, runs into him, and falls down. So then he's mad at the TMP kid. His teammates have to pull him back because of the language. They teed him up, and because the officials were still on the court, they allowed Cade Harris to shoot 2 free throws in basically stoppage time, makes them both, and then TMP goes on to win in overtime.
Well, we had Connor Nickel on here the last 2 weeks talking about how TMP's had these great escapes. I guess that would be – now, is that under review by Keisha?
I guess Abilene challenged it, but it'd be similar to if you make a dunk in the pregame and get teed up. That's off time also, that those free throws would count against you in the game. So since those officials hadn't left the floor, it was still an active situation.
Yeah, I don't know how you – that's why John Shaver's the white hat, because if that happens, I mean, if you come on Colcock, some guy right after the football game, I mean, that's got to count for something. You know, probably an ejection from the game that's just concluded and you don't get to play next day. That's very interesting.
I guess Abilene had just missed some free throws, and then obviously Cade Harris had to go make both of them, or it would be a moot point, but kid's been clutch lately.
And this for Hesh. Aroldis Chapman coming to Kansas City.
Boo. Boo. Do not like it at all.
Well, can't you give him a chance?
I'm giving nobody chances today. You know I'm angry today, okay?
Well, you got Aroldis Chapman. I was just thought maybe he'd be, I mean, okay. He was an all-star 2 years ago. I mean, can he find it?
Is that the Courtyard team? When Dayton Moore was here, we got young men of high-quality character. So the 2 complaints here is this guy's had some off-field struggles, and is he a washout? So I hope we're not reverting back to patterns of old.
It'll all go away if he comes back in and becomes lights out in the bullpen.
Well, we'll be cheering big time if he does that, but yeah. And did you forget about Julie Freimeyer? I'm going to throw this in there. Do you know who Julie Freimeyer is?
No.
She is the one that designed and executed the rehab of Patrick Mahomes' high ankle sprain. Give her some credit.
Julie Freimeyer.
Julie, she's a physical therapist for the Chiefs, and she's the one and they're giving her all sorts of props on social media today.
She was one who was in charge of getting Patty on the field there. So
a Sports Day salute to Julie Freimeyer.
Can I throw out one more name?
Absolutely.
Man, Taylor Robertson, University of Oklahoma. Led McPherson High School to the 4A title in 2018, was 2018 Miss Kansas basketball. This weekend, hit her 503rd collegiate three-pointer, set the NCAA women's record.
Too bad she didn't do it at Wichita State, KU, or Casey.
Sure would have been nice.
Yes, that would have been nice. Yes, young.
So wrapping up with some coaching news. Kellen Moore fired by the Dallas Cowboys, their offensive coordinator. He's only 34. He's led the Dallas Cowboys to 2 top 5 offenses in the league, and now Mike McCarthy going to take over play calling duties from him. We've talked about before Dak Prescott and whether or not we can see him be the guy. I think there's a lot more chance Dak Prescott is the guy with Kellen Moore rather than Mike McCarthy. But in other news on the defensive side, Vic Fangio joining Mike McDaniels in Miami. Vic Fangio, longtime coach of the Broncos there for a little while. Very good defensive coordinator, and I'm excited to see what him and McDaniels can do down there in Miami. Reminds me of Sean McVay teaming up with Wade Phillips in Los Angeles for the Rams a few years ago. Bright young offensive mind teaming up with a classic defensive coach. Excited to see that.
Mike?
He said what I was going to say with no notes in front of him.
I got time for one more bit.
If Alan leaves, you got this.
I'll apologize to him, but Devontae Smith is on the verge of history, could become the 5th player ever to win the Heisman, national championship, and the Super Bowl, behind Tony Dorsett, Marcus Allen, Charles Woodson, and Reggie Bush.
Okay. You want everything covered. Everything's covered. Alan Clark coming up. We're going to talk Barton women's basketball coming up next. Mike Corson will continue to shake his head in awe here on Sports Day.
The need for nurses is constant. Barton Community College offers practical and registered nursing programs. The affordable and challenging coursework is taught by experienced instructors who care about you and have a passion for teaching in the field of nursing. Get hands-on training in the classroom, state-of-the-art simulation labs, and at clinical sites for this high-demand field. The application deadline has been extended to March 1st. Apply online at nursing.bartonccc.edu.
If you need physical therapy, consider Advanced Therapy in Great Bend and Progressive Therapy in Larned and Hayes.
I had a young gal come in the other day who has been having chronic back pain. Did a session just helping her to understand her pain, not understanding her back, but teaching her how her nervous system works. And just that knowledge just calmed her down so much. She came back in this morning, huge smile on her face, and she was so excited to learn more. It was a blast.
Call Advanced or Progressive Therapy and Sports Medicine to explore your treatment options and get your life back.
Good news, hunters. The state now allows night vision and thermal imaging equipment to hunt coyotes at night. And, of course, PNS Security has everything you'll need. Thermal imaging scopes, optics that amplify visible light, and the required night vision permits. PNS also has the rifles, ammo, and accessories for a successful hunt. So drive out west to P&S. P&S Security, a division of P&S Electric, 1/2 mile west of 10th and Patton Road, Great Bend.
What is radon? Home exposure to radon gas is the leading cause of lung cancer death in the United States for non-smokers. In Kansas, 1 in 4 homes will test at or above the EPA action level. The Surgeon General recommends all homes be tested and fixed if necessary. Visit kansasradonprogram.org for more information. Test, fix, save a life. This message brought to you by the Kansas Radon Program, the Kansas Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
It's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Sports Day rolling on. Reminded in your response to my email, last Wednesday still digging at you a little bit against Cowley.
Oh, yeah.
So you want to talk about the good or you want to talk about the bad?
Well, we can talk a little bit about both. It was a good response. Saturday was a good response to to our Wednesday loss. We came out really well against Hutch on Saturday, and so that was good. That part of it. You always like to beat Hutch,
Yeah, well, you start making a habit of that all the time now. So
we're getting our share at least now instead of however many that was in a row there for a bit.
So I know you said that. I mean, you talked about it on the show last week when you were in here before you went to Cali. Said we got to guard the 3-point line.
Yeah.
Was it one of those nights you tried and they just threw in everything that they threw up there? Or, I mean, that's
little both. We needed to guard it. We got too far away from a couple kids at times and got them a little bit too. They were too open. But one kid went 6 for 11 against us, and then the next night at home, still she goes like 0 for 11. So there you go.
Yeah, you caught them on a good night.
But we did the same thing. We go 0 for 14 down there, and John's probably said, they were 0 for 14 at Cali, and now they're 7 for 11 against us. So
win at 78-74, 50 points in the first half. Boy, that's pretty good efficiency.
We played really well first half. We put in some new things that Hutch is really good at scouting and taking away what you're trying to do, and so we put in some new stuff and got some things early that got us going and got us believing and got us trusting and confidence and stuff, and so it kind of rolled from there the rest of the half.
Morgan Myers had a nice night.
Very nice.
Yeah. You talk about 4 for 5 from 3, but
and it wasn't just threes. I mean, she came off some ball screens and used a little hesitation move and got to the basket and got to the free throw line, of course, and she had a really good game. Corey played all 40 minutes, and I've kind of been on Corey a little bit because she's had a tendency to foul early in games, and asked her to try to get through the first quarter without a foul, and she got through 3 quarters without a foul. Plus, the kid she was guarding for Hutch has been getting to the free throw line a lot herself, and Armstead kid, and she never shot a free throw in the whole game. So Corey did a really good job defensively, not fouling and playing to the scouting report, and so
they made a run at you in the second half. Didn't they?
They always will. Oh yeah, they're not going to lay down.
Yeah, it's a 40-minute game.
Yeah, and
just the score at the end is important.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you'd have said, "Hey, you won by 4," we'd have taken that. Now when you're up by 21, you don't want to give all that away. But I think we didn't sub very much. It was one of those games where that experience, you got to have that experience with Brendan Kirchhoff in there and Morgan and Corey and Jenny and Michaela Hall. They've got tons of experience over the rest of those kids, and so. Alyssa played some, but didn't play her as many minutes simply because Morgan and BK and Corey were all playing so well. It was hard to take them out. It's like kind of like you have a pitcher on the mound who's really pitching well, and then the coach comes in and takes the guy out to do what? To bring in a relief pitcher? You don't know what he's going to do. I never. Sorry to change the subject.
No, that's. Well, it's my rotation pattern, so we're going to take this person out so I can keep my rotation in there.
Yeah.
See, you're old school, man. No, just keep on preaching to the choir here.
So anyway, Alyssa didn't do anything wrong, or any of the other kids. It was just one of those games where, there was so much on the game, so much pressure in that game that those 5 kids really handled it well, and it was hard to get them off the floor.
Coaching psychology here. Here we go. You've watched the game. I've watched thousands of games where a team starts to, you mentioned the experience factor, because you've seen teams, they just crumble when they say, oh gosh, here they come. It's all over with now. Momentum's a big thing. But having that sophomore leadership where you can turn that momentum back and fight it off.
Oh, exactly. To get a stop, to get a rebound, to get a big rebound, to make a key shot, experience is everything. In those moments, it really matters.
That was a big game in the standings. You leap back ahead of Hutch by a half game as they clutter at the top. I mean, Dodge City continues to play well, but just right there, right behind Butler right now. So.
Yep. And we've got some big games coming up, and every game is crucial. Thankfully for us, we've got some games at home that are the big games. The teams that the Butlers and the Coffeyvilles and Clouds. We still have them at home in Seward. So hopefully, we can continue.
Okay, Independence coming up. They beat Garden City on Wednesday night. Garden's kind of struggled this year. Independence 6-9, 10-10 overall. But man, that's one of those long road trips.
Yep.
I mean, how are they going to get off the bus? I don't know how to even.
Yeah.
I couldn't even announce after driving that far. So
And we've got to. I imagine Jim's got that score from our last game on his board. I'm sure he's trying to use that as motivation because we got him pretty good here. And I'm sure he's trying to use that as motivation, and we can't go down there and overlook them. But by any means, it's a tough place to play. It's the environment's different than it is here. It's different than Hutch or anywhere else. A different environment. So we got to bring our own energy. There's not going to be very many people in the stands, and so we've got to make it happen.
And Independence, that thing was old when I was broadcasting Pratt Beaver games a long time ago. That was like 35 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's a sterile environment.
I remember this is probably not good to say, Steve, but I'm gonna go back to my days when I played, and we played Independence in the Region 6 championship and lost, and they went on and won the national championship. That was 1977, and we went to their place the very next year, 1978, and they had nobody in the stands. They were the defending national champions. And matter of fact, they won it again that year. They won it back-to-back, 77, 78. And so I made the comment on the free throw lane to one of their players, you guys are national champions and you can't even fill your gym. And,
jab down.
But it's incredible, and especially in those days, Barton was packed to the gills.
Yeah.
And, if we're going to put a national tournament team back on the floor, I mean, I'm sure our gym would be full again too. Yeah.
Who was coaching them at Independence then? You remember?
That was two different guys. The first year was Dan Wall, who ended up at Pratt after that, I think.
Yeah, okay.
And then I think he ended up here at Barton for a year or two.
Yes.
If I remember right. And he was there the first year they won it. And then my sophomore year was Lynn Cundiff, and he won a national championship with him. You remember that name, Lynn?
Yeah, because he came and was the AD at Pratt for a little bit.
Cundiff was?
Yeah.
Really? So both of them ended up going to Pratt after.
Yes, they did. And then did you ever meet Bob Cavisto?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He was a different cat.
Oh, he was a different cat, yeah.
Yeah. He was a different cat for sure.
For sure.
Now, you talk about, some people, well, I don't want to go out to Barton because it's so far out there. Well, you drive out and then you go there. I mean, you got to go south of town and go around, go up through the tree line.
Yeah. Yep.
That's not a handy place.
And then you got a pretty long walk from the parking lot to the gym. And yeah, yep. Glad we only go there one time a year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's coming up. So, Doc was in here this morning. It was
Good
so
for him.
fun. Yeah. Doc Henderson in the Hall of Fame. And it was just, he is something else.
Yeah.
As far as, you talk about, you're a coach working with a trainer, you want your kids to play, but, what was he like to work with as you know?
Well, we didn't work with Doc directly ourselves so much because usually it was the assistant, John Lovercamp, Joe Pettis, I think his name was, and then Ashley, and now Kylie. They work with the women's team more than Doc did. Doc would, see our kids if we needed to. If they weren't around, he would see our kids. But Doc was a great guy to work with, and he was always there for all of our kids and all of our, not just the basketball, but everybody. And he came just shortly after I left. That's how long he was there, and just a great guy to work with, and just hate to see him leave, but knowing that 41 years, that's probably enough. And one that I don't know if you saw the game or saw the live stream of him coming out with his grandkids and sitting on the bench, and perfect. It was perfect. I'm so happy for him.
You throwing out some of those names now. So did you know Dan Pratt?
Oh, yeah. I refereed when Dan Pratt was at KCK. Yeah. Oh, and that's the thing, too, Steve, is I know a lot of those guys, from refereeing. Some of those guys from Garden City, Kent Davison and Jim Carey. And
Jim Carey was the only coach that his face was beat red angry, and there would be like 1950 to go in the first half.
I thought you were going to say 1950 before game time.
Man, you talk about some characters back.
Oh, yeah.
Casey
Oh, yeah.
Malik had the longest
Oh, yeah.
coat toss from one end of the bench to the other. It was a perfect spiral that landed
Yeah.
down there.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And so you were repping then?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Really?
My very first game I ever refereed in Jayhawk Conference was Dodge City and Seward. And it was at Seward, and Casey Malik was the coach. Close game. I was working with Wayne Unruh, two-man crew. Close game. Dodge City scores late. Seward takes it in right away. And, I mean, the ball's out of bounds, and they've got it before Casey asked for a timeout. The ball's already in the air going the other way. And his guys all stopped. It was too late. I couldn't give him the timeout because the ball was already on the air. And so Seward shoots a layup, and he gets his timeout, and he just rips me the whole timeout. And I think he was wanting me to team up, but I thought, Casey, we're going to get this game over with. I'm not going to prolong this and shoot free throws and let you have more to complain about. So
Dale Reed, who of course was the assistant here, and when
Love him.
I loved his stories, was always said, "Yeah, I'd pick him up at the airport in Wichita and tell him to go to sleep."
Yeah.
So he wouldn't realize how far it was out to Liberal when he was taking him out there.
Well, Dale's an old Little River guy, and he would come through Lions, and we'd go. At that time it was called Charlie's Wreck, and we'd go have a big cool one at Charlie's Wreck. It was a lot of fun with Dale.
Ah, the characters of the Jayhawk Conference.
Good memories.
Alan, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, Alan Clark with us. Jim Zunas up next on Sports Day.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Wright, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today. Go Cougars.
Don't feel bad if you're not a phone expert. That's what we're here for. At Next Tech Wireless, we'll help you in the transition to a new device step by step. Want to customize the screen? We've got you. Have questions about some of the functions? We're happy to help. You're not just another number to us. Come see us today, and we'll get you into the best phone for your needs. We're friends. We're neighbors. We are Kansas. Next Tech Wireless. You don't have to be a tech expert to enjoy the latest devices. Get a Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus or iPhone 14 Pro Max half off at Next Tech Wireless. Not only are you getting a great deal on those devices, you're also getting them with a great customer service guarantee. We'll help you get your information transferred from your old phone and help you learn the ins and outs of your new phone. Next Tech Wireless.
It's the Maytag January clearance sale at Boone's Maytag. Save on the dependability and quality you've come to expect from Maytag with huge discounts on all Maytag appliances. All washing machines, dryers, refrigerators, dishwashers, ranges, microwaves, and freezers are on sale. Hurry in now for the best selection and get 0% financing for 12 months. See store for details.
You can't buy better than Boone's. Be our guest.
Boone's and Maytag. Depend on us. 10th and Jackson, Great Bend. See us on the web at Boone'sMaytag.com.
He's a veteran of high school and college sports coverage in Kansas. Sports Day presents the Great Bend Tribune's Jim Mizunas.
It's more old guy talk here today because Jim Mizunas started in this crazy career about the same time I did, down to Hutchinson News and everything, and you remembered all those guys.
Oh, yeah. The cast of characters in junior college basketball goes from A to Z. It's, it's like at junior college, you almost have a free reign, and you just see such an interesting cast of characters.
Remember Carey, though? He ended up having, I think he passed away because of a heart attack, I believe.
Well,
I could believe it.
He's certainly a type A.
Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did get out there. Wow. Jim Mizunas in with us. Thoughts on the AFC Championship game? Don't tell me that. Okay, go ahead.
No. It was exactly what you hope for in a championship game, unlike the NFC, which was over. And I sometimes, I guess I have a lot of pet peeves, but that game was over. It was over. Don't say, what does San Francisco need to do to get? No, this game is over, folks. Stop saying that. The game is over. But anyway, the AFC was a classic championship game. Good plays, bad plays, amazing quarterback play. It comes down to the kicking game at the end. It was just a fascinating game. It's just exactly what you hope for in a championship game. And the plays that Cincinnati made, those two passes, were just incredible.
He is
where
so
Higgins and the other receiver, who's a short guy, number one.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah, Chase. Those receptions those guys made, what incredible plays. And then Mahomes threw the dart over the middle. And
for the touchdown.
Yeah, it was just an amazing throw. It was just a great football game, back and forth, good plays, bad plays. And, really it reminded me of D. Ford. D. Ford goes offside. The Chiefs are in 4 Super Bowls in 5 years if he doesn't go offside. And I still give credit to a kicker who can kick a football 45 yards in 5-degree weather. So the Chiefs still had to kick a field goal. It's unfortunate that it came down to a penalty there at the end. But again, that's football. Sometimes it comes down to the end of the game. And but yeah, what a fascinating game! It was a lot of fun.
There's a lot of things going on in that thing, and I see Hesh always thinks I don't have empathy, but man, I hate scapegoats. Even D. Ford, I have ill will toward him, but I guess I forgive him. But that's a penalty day in, day out.
Randy Wetzel, that's what maybe one of the finest comments I've ever heard in my life was when you described what Randy Wetzel said. If they're cheating, it's a great comment. I mean, it epitomizes really, especially in football, because man, is it holding or not? Is it, is it contact downfield or not? Is it pass interference? Man, football is tough to officiate at that level because, I mean, you could call a lot of holdings and. It tends to be that the best games are where they say, okay, we're going to call this, and then they back off, and then you called a certain way. So, but that doesn't always happen that way. But, yeah, it's a tough job at the NFL level.
Wow, yeah. So the Chiefs are moving on to the Super Bowl. Hopefully they have some healthy guys. And they take
Yeah,
out
they
the
need
Eagles.
they need the 2 weeks. The training staff was and that's what was so fascinating was the Chiefs faced a lot of adversity. Every time you say, okay, we got a 7-point lead. No, it's tied up. Oh, we got a 7-point lead. No, it's tied up. So they really had to work and were short on receivers, and neither team could run the ball. And I suppose that's just defensive oriented. Both defenses said, you're not going to run the ball. We're going to make you throw it. So, yeah, really good defense, too. So, yeah, it was a fun game.
What's our trainer, Hesh?
Julie Freimeyer.
Okay,
She is the young lady that designed and executed the ankle sprain for Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, she needs to get going because she's got a few people to take care of right
well,
now.
they have other people besides her, I'm sure, but
Well,
they
I
were
know.
the one they gave her the shout out to.
Okay, all right.
Well, of course, K-State's coming up. And without a doubt, the story of college basketball this year is Keontae Johnson and the fact that he's playing his old team Saturday, University of Florida. And what a gracious gesture from Florida. He exchanged pleasantries with his old teammates and met the trainer who basically saved his life on a court in Florida 2 years ago. So that's fascinating. And, of course, the K-State game. I'll give you a little K-State KU trivia. And you probably are pretty good at this. How many in a row does KU have in Lawrence?
How many what?
How many victories over K-State in a row?
They just went over some milestone, didn't they? Or how many in a row?
Yeah, in a row in Lawrence. Because, K-State is certainly an underdog. And then plus
13?
10. Yeah, 16. So the last time K-State won was 2006. Who was the K-State coach? Or who was a KU player on that team?
2006.
Leading scorer in that game. K-State won 59-55. I know it's so hard. K-State has been a revolving door. Jim Woolridge was the coach.
I should have known that. Yeah, that was okay. Yeah.
Anyway, the leading scorer was Mario Chalmers, but you'll never guess the leading scorer for K-State that year. Clint Stewart had 15 points. So prior to that, Kansas had won 31 in a row when Kansas State won that one. The previous time was 1994. So K-State's won 2 games in Lawrence since '94.
Well,
so.
Okay, you're a big K-State fan. I mean, you go back, and this is the best K-State team they've had.
No, I agree. It goes back to probably 90. When did Danny Manning, was that 98, 88?
That was 88. So that is Steve Henson and Charles Bledsoe and Mitch Richmond was on that team,
made
right?
the Elite Eight and they played double overtime with Xavier, and they played a late night game, went 2 overtimes, and then they played like a 9 a.m. game 2 days later. So against Butler, which ended up being the national runner-up. But that's the only other team I would compare. But yeah, it's a talented team. It's amazing that with 2 players back, what Coach Tang has done with these guys.
I mean, he's like everything he touches is gold right now. K-State fans just got to be just giddy.
Yeah. It's well beyond. I mean, they're picked 10th. He told his team before, hey, if we can go 8-8, we got a shot to go in the NCAA. Where they're already 7-2, 6-3, 7-3.
But it goes beyond just putting players out on.
Oh
the
yeah,
floor
no,
and
you got to
everything
have
like
a
that.
certain mindset that hey, we're gonna compete for championships. And he didn't say this year, but the fans said, okay, in 5 years, yeah, we'll compete somewhere along the line. Then the other big game later this week is the Iowa State women at Kansas State Wednesday at 6:30. So that'll be fun to see Emily Ryan back in the state of Kansas and battling against the Wildcats Wednesday night at 6:30.
I just wish she was in a Wildcat uniform.
Yeah, it would be nice, but they recruited her, but obviously Emily knows what she's doing, and she selected a coach of high caliber there at Iowa State. They've got the Derby girl going up to Iowa State next year, but Iowa State's season really has taken a turn when their 6'6" transfer went down with an injury for the year. Stephanie Soares was averaging a double-double, and so that's really knocked Iowa State women down a notch.
All right, Jimbo, what else you have today?
Well, just, looking at the high school records and such, Great Bend girls are 11th in 5A and the boys are 9th. And the problem with both teams is like the boys, they have 6 losses, but the next team above them is 4 losses. So they're 2 losses behind everybody. So it may be hard to climb out of that 8-9 game at this point. But, their schedule's favorable. They should be able to sweep Liberal. And they've beaten Dodge on the road, so that should be another home game. The tough games are at Hayes, of course, and then, of course, at Garden City. So those would be tough games. So, but, they certainly have a chance the way they're playing. They certainly have a chance when they play their best against anybody. I mean, Garden City was down to the last possession of the game, so they certainly can go out to Garden City and compete. So those 2 road games at Hayes and Garden City, other than that, yeah, they should have a pretty good chance on their other games so far.
Yeah.
And the girls, again, I think Coach Beck has found we need to pressure earlier in the game. You don't need to wait until you're 10 points behind in the fourth quarter to do that. And I think she's found that out, that they're going to use more pressure because it's very, very effective. They've got a lot of quickness, and their guards are really long and athletic. And Mackenzie Premer and Sadie Spray are very good on the top of the press there.
Yep, and you can get easy baskets and points off.
Yeah, and that's really what they need.
Huge for them. So.
Really, they just need to score more than 40, 45 points, and they're going to win most of their games.
Jim, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Next time we start talking old coaches in here, just grab a mic and sit down because you can talk about as many of them as I can. So.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. The junior college level basketball, I believe, is the hardest coaching of any sport because it's a revolving door year by year, and it's really a tough go. And those coaches who do it, you certainly tip your hat to them because it's a tough job with, 3, 4, 5, 6-hour bus trips. They don't fly to very many games.
No, they do not.
Arizona's about it when Seward and Hutchinson have gone down to Arizona.
Jim, thanks.
You're welcome, sir.
The one and only Jim Mizunas here on Sports Day. Mike Corson coming up. Panther on the prowl with Mike Corson's next.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
When you need to get rid of the pain, you want the best. You need to see Dr. Dan Quillen at Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Dr. Dan is Barton County's only board-certified clinical specialist in orthopedic physical therapy. No matter your age, when it hurts, he will help. Call Dan at 620-282-4825. That's 282-4825. Excellence-driven, unrivaled results. Catalyst Therapy and Sports Rehab. Inside the Fieldhouse at 9th and Madison in Great Bend.
Venture Corporation is a homegrown company with almost 50 years of experience in asphalt, paving, and construction. They have quite a few jobs scheduled for the new year, and they need equipment operators, mechanics, and CDL drivers. Venture offers many benefits, including 401k and Blue Cross Blue Shield health insurance. Call Leslie for all the details. Work for a family-owned and family-oriented company that is here today and will be here in the future. Venture Corporation, South Highway 281, Great Bend, is an equal opportunity employer.
Sports Day presents On the Prowl with Mike Corson, an inside look at all the sports taking place at Great Bend High School.
Welcome back to Sports Day, 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM. Mike Corson, joined by Panther Wrestling coach Nathan Brockelman. Going Travis Kelsey today, Coach.
Perfect.
Big one for you guys. You coming off the Bob Kuhn up in Hayes, even go to a bigger one at the Rocky Walton Invitational in Garden City. 8th place finish overall and a 5th out of Kansas. How fun to maybe go to those two back to back.
It's a pretty good test for our kids to kind of get them ready for postseason. Hayes being the first 2-day weigh-in that we have for the year, back to back basically on a Friday, Saturday, just like state and regional are. And we performed well there, and then do the exact same thing the very next week and throw some duels in there on Tuesdays and just push up the competition a little bit just to kind of see where we're at, kind of bring some kids down a notch if they need to be brought down a notch, but hopefully they can find some success as well.
And I'm going to bring up a name maybe we haven't talked about a whole lot this year, but Trenton Kern, he wasn't your highest place finisher. He finished 9th at 190, but tough bracket. He loses the 2 ranked kids and gets a few pins in there.
Yeah, Trenton's really flying under the radar this year, and I know we really haven't had a chance to talk to a lot about him. He has been pretty successful for a freshman at a big boy weight up there at 190, and honestly, after he got some of the fat cut off of him from football, he's actually only weighing about 180, so really he's wrestling, some seniors and juniors that probably cut down from about 215 to get down to 190, so he's holding his own, and he's starting to kind of get some of those closer wins and get into some matches, and hopefully he just gets peaked at the right time, and hopefully he can take care of business and get qualified for state.
A couple marquee brackets, in my opinion, was 144 and 150. So Cooper Lyles was number 3 at that weight, 150. Some really fast pins, but then he meets a Scott City kid who was top ranked in 4A, and he has also pinned his way to the finals. And then McDaniel wins 11-4. How fun was that bracket?
Yeah. That was a fun bracket and fun match to watch. McDaniel's wrestled tough. They were almost identical wrestlers. They both only had a few moves on their feet that they both like to do normally and turn to, and when you put them on top, they're going to try to cradle you up. And unfortunately for Cooper, he got cradled up a couple times. We didn't get pinned, but we did get fought off our back, so that's where the point difference kind of came from. And we just couldn't quite get our cradle hooked up on him. We had plenty of opportunities to get our cradle hooked up, but we just couldn't quite get it slapped on and taken back. But it was a good match, a good push for Cooper.
215, you had a couple kids in there, Kevin Schroeder and Brody Schnoblin. Kevin gets a couple wins, but then he ends up going up against a 6th-ranked kid from Newton, and then, of course, who knew Riley Marks was a wrestler from Andale, but a couple tough losses for him there.
Yeah, the Newton kid we saw earlier in the year, and he pinned us. And this year we were, just a few seconds away from beating him in the quarterfinals on the front side. So that was a good match to kind of see us progress through to. Hopefully we can get him at regional so we can get on the opposite side of brackets of him. And then his 3rd and 4th place match, he was actually winning that match until he got pinned. He was winning 6-4, and they cut us and they took us down. So we're still winning 7-6 with however much time was left, and we just made a mistake. And the Marks kid is a big, strong kid and a pretty good athlete, obviously, with his track and field and football stuff going. And he just caught us and pinned us.
We got more top-ranked kids at 138. So you've got number 6, Skylar McMullen. So he finished 5th, but he also ran into a top-ranked kid from Olathe North.
Yeah, we wrestled the Alderman kid from Olathe North. I think Alderman's a couple-time finalist, maybe a couple-time state champion. And we weren't doing too bad in that match. It was a pretty tight match. Kind of got caught up in a Blair ride is what it's called. It's a New Jersey, kind of coming from the New Jersey area, kind of making its way down to Kansas. We've seen it before, but it hasn't really got too popular. But we've started to see it quite a bit this year. But he's wrestling well. I know he's got some hopes to get to state and get himself a medal, and he's able to revenge a loss with the Dodge City kid that we had that kind of tragic event happen at the Dodge City tournament with. So, he's sitting pretty good, and he's feeling pretty good, I think, heading into a senior postseason. And, hopefully he just continues to compete well and he can get himself a medal.
Talking to Panther wrestling coach Nathan Brockelman. So then that 144, you had the top 2 kids from Class 4A, top ranked from Class 321A, and also top ranked from Goddard in 5A. And Jay Sharp still goes in there at rank number 4 and finishes 5th place.
Yeah, Jay's had a pretty good tournament. The 2 matches that he lost, you could just tell in his mind that maybe he wasn't quite as confident as normal. So we kind of talked about that because the matches that he won and dominated in, his mindset was completely different, and he looked like a completely different wrestler. So hopefully the next time we see, the Goodwin kid and get into postseason, our postseason at 144, I believe, has going through the actual ranking spreadsheet, almost 8 of the top 10 kids. So he's going to have a grind at the regional and basically earn his medal at regionals, hopefully.
Maybe one more here, Matthew Johnson. He's been ranked really high for you this year, 175. He also goes 5th place, and more tough competition in that bracket.
Yeah, Matthew Johnson wrestled well. He gutted out some wins. Was able to take care of some kids when he got on top of them, and that's where he's best at, is on top. And it's nice to kind of see Matthew come back around after struggling there at the beginning of this, after Christmas break there at the Dodge City tournament.
So you guys are off Tuesday, but you will head to Thursday for final dual action, and then kind of get to go a little bit of homecoming for you, Phillipsburg, on Saturday.
Yeah, we're going up to Phillipsburg. It's a smaller school tournament, but we'll still have Hoxie there and Abilene, who's tough in 4A, and Norton. So it'll be a tough tournament. It's kind of a place where we can just take everyone, varsity, JV, and all our girls, one last time before we hit postseason.
Panther coach Nathan Brockelman, thanks and good luck this week.
Thank you.
More Sports Day after this.
The need for nurses is constant. Barton Community College offers practical and registered nursing programs. The affordable and challenging coursework is taught by experienced instructors who care about you and have a passion for teaching in the field of nursing. Get hands-on training in the classroom, state-of-the-art simulation labs, and at clinical sites for this high-demand field. The application deadline has been extended to March 1st. Apply online at nursing.bartonccc.edu.
If you're not filling with Cenex Premium Diesel, then you're not giving your fuel system the premium treatment. Cenex Roadmaster XL comes with a more complete additive package for a more complete burn, while restoring your power by up to 4.5% and your fuel economy by up to 5%. Typical number 2 diesel? I guess it covers the basics. Cenex Premium Diesel. Diesel that doesn't mess around.
Contact American Plains Co-op in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor today.
It's one of those Hesher bumps right there. Welcome back, Sports Day here on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. A programming note today. Jayhawks are here tomorrow night on KVGB, as we'll have the Larned High School games on Hits 106.9. Panther.
And for your information, also on February 14th, we found out there was a change. So KU will be on AM and on the 14th as well. I know.
What station?
On 1590 AM and 95.5 FM.
1590 KVGB
yeah,
and 95.5.
Do you really want to get me started?
Yeah. Hesh. Tomorrow on the show, Cole Reif. Talk Barton basketball. We're going to work, and I think this is going to happen. We're going to talk to the hardest working man in radio, Brock Kappelman, KSCB in Liberal. That guy's had to driven 10 million miles in his career.
He still does Liberal and Seward?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, the guy from Pratt's doing the same thing. I don't know his name, but we've talked to him.
Well, he doesn't drive.
Well, he
from
doesn't
Liberal.
have to go as far, yes.
Yes. So, anyway, we'll have Brock on, and then Nathan Brock will be back tomorrow to talk with Mike on the Panther Prowl, talking Lady Panther wrestling tomorrow. It's Sports Day on KVGB.